In this video, we'll be talking about the Triangle Inequality Postulate and then the Pythagorean Inequalities. The Triangle Inequality Postulate states that the sum of the lengths of any two sides of a triangle is greater than the length of the third side. Now you'll notice here that I have a triangle formed with three pieces of pasta, and the two sides here are long enough that they meet here at this vertex. Now if I take this piece away and replace it with a shorter piece, you can see that when I bring the two pieces down to try to form the triangle, they won't meet. So the sum of the lengths of any two sides of a triangle, they can't even be equal to the length of the third side. It has to be greater than, because if it's equal to, it'll come down and meet right here in this point right there. Okay. Now the Pythagorean inequalities, the first one states that if a squared plus b squared equals c squared, then the measure of angle C is 90 degrees and triangle ABC is a right triangle. Now you'll notice that side A is across from angle A and side B is across from angle B and side C is across from angle C. So basically this is saying that if the square of the two legs added together is equal to the hypotenuse squared, then angle C is a right angle, and triangle ABC is a right triangle. Now for this one, if a squared plus b squared is smaller than c squared, then angle C is obtuse. And triangle ABC is an obtuse triangle. Now one way you may need to think about this is if we write this inequality in reverse. In other words, c squared, and then since this is less than, I'll need to use greater than in the reverse inequality, and then a squared plus b squared. So if we start out with the right triangle, and here is side C, and we're saying that c squared is bigger. Now in order for that hypotenuse to be bigger, here's my C. In order for C to be bigger than the squares added together, then this angle, angle C, has to be obtuse. And then the other one states that if a squared, and again across from A, angle A is side A, across from angle B is side B, and across from angle C is side C. So if a squared plus b squared is more than c squared, then angle C is acute. So let's look at this inequality in reverse as well. If we have c squared written on the left side of the inequality, then we'll need to use the less than symbol. We need to reverse this also. And then a squared plus b squared. We'll start with our right angle, which we know from the Pythagorean theorem. And then this time we're saying that c squared is less, which means here's our angle C, our side that makes so this is our angle C and this is our side C, and we just made it smaller than the right angle hypotenuse. So we can see then that when this occurs, that angle C is acute and our triangle is an acute triangle. Now let's look at a problem. The sides of a triangle are 5, 8, and 6. Is the triangle a right triangle, an acute triangle, or an obtuse triangle? Well, we first need to make sure that it's a triangle at all. Take two sides. Let's take the 5 and the 8 and add those together. And we want to see if that's more than the third side. And we can see that it is. So yes. Then take two other sides. Let's take the 5 and the 6 and see if that's more than the 8. 5 plus 6 is 11, so yes, that is. And then take two other sides, the 8 and the 6, and see if that's more than 5. So yes, it is. So if you don't get yeses on all of the statements, then it's not a triangle, and you don't even need to check to see if it's right, acute, or obtuse. All right, then let's look at our Pythagorean inequalities. We'll take the c squared and see how it matches up with a squared plus b squared, because we don't know yet if it's equal or less or greater. My c would have to be this bigger side right here, the 8. So I'll put 8 squared and then 5 squared and 6 squared in these two spots. 8 squared is 64. 5 squared is 25. And then 6 squared is 36. When we add these two together, we get 61. So we see that in this case, 64 is more than 61. So c squared is more than a squared plus b squared. And remember our diagram when we started with a right angle. There's our right triangle. And when c squared is bigger, then our triangle is obtuse. So therefore, triangle is obtuse.